Are we ready to do this?
I don't think we have a choice. Hey, Anya.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Oh.
Hi, Doug.
Hello. I looked at the photo that it posted when I stopped my video, and man, that's really formal, and that's from some years ago. I've aged. I lost hair.
I see you. Anya, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be like in here. You know, I just clicked on the link somebody sent me.
No, that's okay. You're exactly
Okay.
where you need to be if you want to be part of the public information meeting.
All right, thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your email.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry it took me a little bit to get
It's
through
okay.
it today.
Yeah, I can understand that. Monday too.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good, Anya. How are you? Doug, how are
Good.
you?
I'm good, Eric. When you sit back, you sound like you're in the way back of a cave when you're talking.
Oh, that's not good. I've got this fancy new microphone too. Does that sound any better?
Hi, Cameron. How's your microphone going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. That's all I needed to check.
Anya, let me test again. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
All right.
Cameron, we've emailed and talked. I don't think we've Zoomed. You got the full winter beard going right now.
I know. I started it Thanksgiving. So
If I tried to do that, it would take me 3 years to get to that point.
Yeah,
And
it's
mine would be all gray, not just this little bit of gray that you
yeah.
got.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Doug. I thought when I turned 50, I'd be able to grow a beard, but I don't know. It just takes too long.
Okay, well, it's 5:15, and as much as I don't want to interrupt this discussion about facial hair, and I think we could move on to the events for the evening. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Anya Gran with the Planning Department. We're here tonight for our public information meeting on Stanat's Place. The applicant team is here, and they're going to do a presentation for you. Staff is here to listen, to take notes, and if we have time or questions at the end, I'm happy to review the process for this conditional zoning district application. But with that, I will turn it over. Eric, do you want to introduce your team?
Sure. Doug Swartz is here with the building team. Joe Covens, my trusted coworker, is here with a PowerPoint presentation. We've got Cameron Rice, who is our civil engineer with advanced civil design. And I imagine Scott Covens, the owner of the company, and Joe's father is out there someplace.
And real quick, I should mention that this is an opportunity for the public to provide comments on the plans that are available on the project website. And while the team gives their presentation, I'll make sure to get that link to you in the chat here. No decisions get made at this meeting. It's just an opportunity for public input. So sorry about that, Eric, but continue on.
You kind of broke up there at the end. What? Say that again, Anya.
Oh, I was going to let you continue. I'm sorry I interrupted you about the public information.
Oh, I thought you all were going to make a presentation first. No?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Joe?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Go ahead and pull her up.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep. Looks good to me. All right, I want to thank everybody for attending tonight. Thank you. I see that we have a lot of the neighborhood out there, which is exactly what these meetings were intended to do. First, I'd like to explain a little bit about our company, Capcom, and what we do. At the last meeting, there was some concern raised that we might be one of those fly-by-night developers who are here one day and not the next. And I just wanted to clarify that. We've been here for a long time. We are a small local developer that has worked almost exclusively in Chapel Hill and Carrboro. Scott Coven started the business over 30 years ago, back in 1989. We've built some of the most attractive communities in Chapel Hill and Carrboro. And all three of us, me, Scott, and Joe, all live in communities that we've built. Scott lives in Franklin Grove across from Whole Foods, which is a townhome community that we developed. Joe Covens lives in Columbia Place, which is a townhome community that we built down the street from Town Hall. And I live over in Carrboro at the Cedars at Bowland Forest, which is another community that we've built in Carrboro. We've all raised our kids here. They all went to Chapel Hill schools, and we'll be here after Stanat's place is done with. So we've spent our careers here, and Joe intends to spend his career here as well. And I just wanted to say that to kind of, alleviate any concerns about, what kind of a development company we are. Enough of that. We have an area map in front of us. Which shows that we're proposing 47 townhomes on roughly 8 acres of land. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with the location of the project, but we're just east of Weaver Dairy Road Extension, adjacent to Aquatics Drive and just north of Homestead Road. Go on to the next slide, Joe.
You work?
Next.
Not moving?
Not yet.
All right, hold on. Let's try it again. Nope. Anything?
We're seeing your Zoom United webpage.
Huh. Okay, let me try again.
Okay, we see the first. There you go. You just moved.
We good?
There you go.
Jeez. All right. We're getting there.
We're on cue. Because this is a neighborhood information meeting, I assume that most of you know where we're located and what a great location this is for a townhome community. We're right next to Homestead Park. We share a border with a parking lot across the street from the Seymour Center, our multi-million-dollar senior center, walking distance to all three public schools, the high school, the middle school, and the elementary school. And we will be a very short walk to the bus rapid transit system that will go from I-40 to the university up and down Martin Luther King Boulevard, right across Homestead Road from what will be the future Horace Williams track, the university's next big campus. It is a great location. Next slide. Here's our site plan, and I'm going to go through this stuff quickly because I think most of you have seen it before. If you have a question, I'll come back and answer it, or you can stop me midstream. But we have a triangular site here, which is challenging, but we have some great engineering talent between Cameron Rice and the town's urban engineer, Brian Peterson, urban designer. And so we've created a central park area that all of the units will be able to kind of look out over. We've got public streets designed here, publicly maintained. There will be two connections, one at Cabernet Drive and one at Aquatics Drive. We've got an extension of the Chapel Hill Greenway system that will grace the southern property line of the site. And finally connect that greenway system to Homestead Park. Public sidewalks will be on one side of all of the public streets, and there will be sidewalk connections to Homestead Park, both at the upper end of the triangle into the parking lot, and one at Aquatics Drive, and then another sidewalk connection at Cabernet. Go ahead to the next slide, Joe. We heard the neighborhood loud and clear at the concept plans, and one of the big concerns that we heard was with the buffer. And so this diagram here, this illustration is intended to show how we have modified that in accordance with your concerns. And it's a little bit difficult to read it. I'm going to walk you through it a little bit. If you look to the lower drawing, I guess the bottom line, thank you very much, Joe. The bottom line is between our units, which are to the far right, and the backs of the Vineyard Square units that front on Vintage Drive, there's 86 feet of distance, which is huge. And I'll break that down for you. There is 25 feet of landscape buffer that sits right about in the middle. And then there will be 10 feet of additional buffer on our side, which will have a 6-foot privacy fence and a retaining wall. And then there will be a 20-foot courtyard as well in back of our units. On the Vineyard Square side, there's an additional 9 feet of buffer outside the landscape area, and then an additional 12-foot in the courtyard areas to your homes on that side. So 86 feet of total distance in there. I think we've tripled the overall buffer width, maybe exceeded that. And if you look at it, it's actually, there's more distance between the backs of our units and the backs of the Vineyard Square units than there are front to front of the units that front on Vintage Drive. So we heard your comments and we've addressed them. We've moved our whole street system forward to accommodate the larger buffers. One of the other things that I'd like to point out, which is significant here, is that our units are 2-story units, where Vineyard Square's units are 3-story units. And so our first floor actually doesn't even get to the garage level of the Vineyard Square townhomes. Our second floor, our top living floor, will be looking across at that garage floor of the Vineyard Square. So That coupled with the distance and the 25-foot landscape buffer and the 6-foot fence and retaining wall, we think we'll have great privacy between the two communities. And Cameron Rice did a phenomenal job of kind of orchestrating that. So there we go with the buffers. Next slide, Joe.
Nope, still not doing it.
No, you did it. You're good. So this is just an interior of the community perspective of what our townhomes will look like. Green space between the garages, pergolas in front. Go ahead, Joe, to the next one. They'll be very similar in size with almost identical lot sizes to the Vineyard Square homes. Okay, Joe? As I said, there are 2 entrances proposed, one at Cabernet. This stub out that you're looking at here was intentionally designed as part of the Vineyard Square community to connect the Stanat property with Homestead Park. All of the utilities were extended for ease of connection. And that stub out had a sign there and does now that says the road may continue in the future. And so that was specifically designed for the connection into the Stanat property. Next slide, Joe. And our second entrance here is from Aquatic Drive. You can see the sunny area up there on the left-hand side, and that's where we will enter from Aquatic Drive. Next slide. Just a close-up view of that central park. There will be a playground on the right-hand side with picnic tables and benches, a quiet sitting area on the left-hand side, a central green with a signature tree in the middle. We believe that that's a great amenity for the center of the community. Next slide. Another big part, another big facet of the community is that Greenway Trail connection to Homestead Park. That at some point, in accordance with the approved Greenway Trail connection plan from the town of Chapel Hill, will hopefully make its way up to Eubanks and north to Millhouse Road, connecting the south of the town with the north of the town, and we'll be part of that. Next slide. With the 2200 Homestead Road project on the left-hand side of your screen, they committed a dedication of that greenway, as we did with the Bridgepoint community adjacent to it, and we will make that final connection with Stanat's Place. Next slide. Another connection, final connection that we're proposing here is with the sidewalk, connecting Vineyard Square sidewalk with Homestead Park and then going all the way out to Homestead Road. So we look at this as an integral part of the overall sidewalk plan for the town. We know that connectivity is a concern of a lot of the adjacent residences, and we have made a list here, and I went through it the last time that I gave this presentation of benefits of that connectivity. And we think that will make a big difference for the overall community. We think Stanat's Place is a well thought out townhome community, much like Vineyard Square. Moderately priced homes are very badly needed in Chapel Hill to keep our university, our local businesses, and our neighborhoods healthy. We understand your concerns with the additional traffic, but the traffic study will confirm that the additional trips generated by Stanat's Place will be minimal and will provide connectivity benefits for the entire community. We'd like to continue to see how we can make this connection and other concerns work for our neighbors, as we believe it is in the best interest of the town of Chapel Hill. If Vineyard Square or any of the adjacent neighbors would like to meet again to further discuss these issues, we'd be happy to do so. And I or the town would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Are we open for questions?
I think so. Joe, do you mind to stop sharing your screen so we can go back to the view with everybody?
Yep. Thanks, Anya.
No problem. Susan, you spoke up first, so I'll let you go first.
Okay. I think it was in November when the town council, when this plan was put before the town council, who clearly said they did not agree with cutting through Cabernet. And I'm just rather perplexed as to why still this concept is showing that. That's my question.
Is that a question for me, Ms. Nassar?
I guess it is. I guess it is, Eric. I guess it is, since you're the applicant, yes. Yeah.
We think it is the best thing to do for the town of Chapel Hill and overall connectivity for the town. We've talked with the staff, the transportation staff, the fire staff, and connectivity has always been a goal for the town. And therefore, we're moving ahead with this plan as we think that it's best thing for everybody. I think it will give connectivity for the residents of Vineyard Square and our community alike, and will tie together Homestead Park with a good portion of the existing neighborhood. And we think that that connectivity is important. You know, other reasons are listed, you know, just overall traffic safety, safety in the event of accidents or trees down, or the connectivity is just an overall good thing for the community. And that's why we're pursuing it.
May I respond to that, Eric, please, with all due respect? The connectivity is only good for your concept plan. Nobody needs it. We have a path to Homestead Road. And in your previous presentation to the council, you mentioned from your point of view or sales point of view, that one asset would be that it would remove some of the traffic on Homestead Road. Thank you very much. We don't need to take Homestead Road's traffic into our residential small steep street. So the only frankly advantage I can see for anybody in this is that it's a creative plan you all have come up with a small triangular piece of land. I recognize that. But from the point of view of our neighborhood, it's disastrous. And we don't feel like we should be the sacrificial lamb for you all to build your pocket neighborhood. And this connectivity thing, I don't know where that's coming from, but we don't need it. We already have connectivity to the park, and we have Homestead Road, which, yeah, I mean, we just don't, connectivity is not, it's not a benefit for us. And we will continue to oppose that. But what really perplexes me, are you really going to go back before the town council when they've already said, no, we do not agree with your cutting through on Cabernet? Are you really going to go back and present that again? I mean, I don't know how it works, but to me, that sounds kind of like spinning wheels. I don't know. Or do you think if you insist enough, they'll eventually, acquiesce?
Again, Ms. Nassar, we just think it's from a long-standing kind of planning doctrine, and it's not something that we came up with. Connectivity is a good thing for the community, and we think it would be a good thing for this portion of the community. We will continue to take counsel from the Transportation Board when we go in front of the Transportation Advisory Board. We'd like to hear what their thoughts are on the matter. We would also like to take counsel from the traffic impact study that's currently being conducted and underway, and we'll take both a singular and both entrances into consideration. And we'll have further discussions with the fire department, town staff, and council members as we move this forward to get all of their input on what they think the best thing for the town is.
Well, I'm one of the neighbors here. I live on Carbonate Drive. We like the connectivity that you are proposing, the amenity around the neighborhood. But as a mother of 3-year-old who who lives on Carbonate Drive. Can you just put something, you don't need to open the whole road. You can just, like put a fire exit over there between the two neighborhoods. That, we like to connect with the new neighbors. What we don't want is the through traffic. That will, I don't know, I'm almost speechless here. As a mother of 3-year-old, that's my most concern. I want safety of the children and our elderly, take walks, we walk past, and we welcome the new neighbors. We welcome their amenities you want to put around the neighborhood. Those are all good. But please, you can talk to all those government parties, but what about the neighbors? Where are the people that are living on Carbonate Drive? And our life is being impacted here. And we have been voicing this up again and again. And we just hope that you hear us and show some empathy here. So that's my biggest concern.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to try to, I know there's several hands that are raised, so I'm going to try to call on you in the order that your hand was raised. Ms. Emily Zai, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name.
Okay. So I would also like to talk a little bit about this concept of connectivity, because connectivity of roads does not create connectivity of neighborhoods, because you have people driving in cars. You're not connecting with your neighbors. You're driving alone in a car from one point A to point B. And in this case, it's not just the connectivity of our neighborhoods that we're concerned about. It's the traffic from people moving through our neighborhood to Homestead Park. We are totally fine with trails cutting through our neighborhood and connecting the two neighborhoods. As my neighbor said, if there were, and I'm sorry, I forgot what they're called, but if there was to be a road where there was those poles that prevented, yeah, that's right, that prevented traffic from moving from Homestead or from Weaver Dairy to Homestead, but only was accessible to fire trucks, that could be a possible solution. But citing connectivity as a reason for this drive-through does not make any sense, because connectivity for cars is just about traffic. And you cited the 3 neighborhoods that you live in and how you're part of the community and stuff. We are part of this community. This impacts us. And we are the ones that are living here and deal with the traffic, deal with the safety of our children. Because of the density, there is only one sidewalk on one side, which means that you have people moving from their driveways and front doors into the streets. You have to cross the street in order to get the sidewalk, but there are a lot of pedestrians. And this not only impacts us, but it impacts the new neighbors at Stanat Place. Those individuals and those families will also have traffic moving through their neighborhoods. Yes. And using the excuse that because when this neighborhood was built 15 years ago, that the plan was to have another neighborhood there, I think is irresponsible, actually, because if you look at the development in this neighborhood over the past 15 years, it is a completely different situation than it was when this neighborhood was built. I mean, we have construction going on for 2 new neighborhoods right across the street. So even looking at traffic, I mean, we haven't even taken into consideration those new neighbors that are being built across Weaver Dairy Extension. So I, along with the neighbors who just spoke, am extremely frustrated that we have raised this concern multiple times in multiple town hall meetings, that the town council supported us in our concerns, and that this still hasn't been addressed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wee.
Thanks. Yeah, I pretty much agree with my neighbors, but I just have a couple questions for Mr. Eric Schaap. So my question is that since the last town hall council meeting, which I think all the council members made very clear that they don't want a vehicular connection through Carbonate. Okay, we, as one of our neighbors said, we never ruled out the possibility, or multiple said, that having fire exits, okay, with the poles going through the new neighborhood. So why, like, did you follow up with the town council members or any people who are right responsible for this? And why are you proposing this exactly same connectivity again this time around? Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. And as I said, we understand the concerns there. I mean, we are listening to a variety of individuals and it within the town on what the best route to go here is for the overall community, and understand that in looking at the video.
Did the town council tell you, did any of the town council let you know that they're willing to consider having the vehicular road, or they did not change their position since the last town hall meeting? I think that's the real question that I'm asking here.
I have not had further discussions with the town council. You know, I think through the process, we will have additional conversations with the town council, but we'd also like the transportation advisory board to weigh in, the town's traffic engineering department to weigh in, the fire department and the public safety to weigh in as part of a responsible design.
Well, thank you all for your comments about connectivity and your concerns about traffic. I think this is something that we can continue to explore and maybe even set up a follow-up public information meeting or a walkabout. So we'll continue to play around with that idea, and we'll let you all know when something like that gets scheduled. Does anybody have any comments not related to connectivity or the traffic?
I just want to make a comment if you guys can hear me. Excuse me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I think Eric talked about connectivity. I'm all for connectivity. However, the town has, I think, overall vision of a walkable community, right? So we are more than happy to, you know, have a walkable path, which already exists right now between our community and the future development. I think the traffic issue is really, you know, of our most concern because the streets are narrow. Our children play on these streets all the time. And I mean, it's so obvious if you live in this neighborhood that the street is not designed to be a through traffic street. The street is designed as a neighborhood street. Our children play on there all the time. You know, we have these very young kids, you know, riding their scooters, riding their bicycles. When you put a through traffic car, drive over there, it imposes danger it would completely change that street and change that, you know, whole neighborhood sort of dynamic, because then all the parents have to be worried that their children no longer can play on the street because the traffic, you know, would be just like Homestead. It can be a bypass of Homestead. It's just going through our neighborhood. So, you know, we've talked about these concerns over and over. We invited, you know, whoever can come to our community, take a look at it. These are very, you know, real and genuine concerns. So the fact is not that we oppose connectivity. These are safety issues for, especially the children who live in our neighborhood. And these are streets that are designed not for through traffic. These are neighborhood streets. That's just my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Liu, I noticed you've had your hand up for a while.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's again a clarification. Really back the last discussion. Connectivity is a concept. I think it's more for a human, and we are neighbors. We're human beings. We want to be friendly with each other, and we're all in support for a walkable path. But cutting through traffic is kind of diverting the Homestead Road or River Dairy Road traffic into the very, very narrow 22 feet wide road. And I can show you, it is just this narrow. And last time, the council members give instruction to the developer, kind of discouraging this idea of cutting through traffic. And I was confused. Actually, I want to understand if there is any consideration of the traffic safety, because the moment when I read in the application that not only this Cabernet Drive will become a cut through for the traffic, but also it's designed as the inlet and outlet for the construction trucks. At that time, I was a little bit confused. Are the safety of the children really considered here at all? I mean, well, making the road better connected, maybe releasing some of the traffic burden from the big road might be a good concern. But if you're doing that with the cost of children's life, well, I don't know. I would recommend definitely consider the children's life to be valuable, and also don't underestimate the parents' determination to protect their own kids. And that's my concern. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Christy Tate, you're next.
I would just like to respond. Thank you very much for all of your comments. I would just like to, I have 5 children that I've raised in the house that I'm in. And the street in front of my house that we built is 20 feet wide, front of curb to front of curb. And we have pictures of that. And we also have pictures, and they're here with the presentation of the width of your streets, which are 25 and a half. And there's actually a school of thought that having narrower streets reduces the overall risk of accidents occurring within neighborhoods. And that's the kind of thing that we would like to get the input from the traffic study and the transportation advisory board and the town engineering staff and the town public safety staff on. So we'd like to get kind of a well-rounded education on what the best route to go here is. And absolutely, children are our chief concern. As I said, I have 5, and I live on a street here in Carborough that we built, and the street in front of my house is 20 feet wide.
May I respond to this?
Sure.
So, well, for one thing, we actually measured the width, and I think all the council members actually worked in this community themselves, and we showed them how traffic can be a big concern, and they are all in agreement with that. And I don't know if there's any change in this understanding. And also, I would like to point out that this is not just a street on both sides. Well, there's only one side with the sidewalk, and there are garages on both sides. So a lot of times people might cross the street, and I don't think the argument really applies here that the reducing the width of the street would increase. One other concern I have is there any mechanism in the CCAP kind of or transportation connectivity or kind of evaluation to take into consideration the conflict of interest? Is there any way we can ensure that it is kind of a neutral, well, for those traffic analyze, traffic safety analyze to remain neutral in this. Yeah, that is my concern. Thank you.
I also want to just add that, you know, it's one thing you have single family neighborhood where a street is quiet, you know, kids play there, you know, there's through traffic, rarely go through there. But what we're talking about here is a high density neighborhood. We have these townhouses built, you know, back to, you know, side by side. We have just a lot of young families, a lot of young children, you know, regularly play on the streets. I mean, let's be honest, you know, our front sort of the road is kind of like a playground, you know what I mean? It's where children ride their bikes and do things. This is not like a, you know, a single family neighborhood where the kids can, you know, occasionally go to the front and they have their backyard or whatever. So consider our streets, you know, the only paved places where children can play is the you know, is the road. And then our street also allow both sides can park the cars. So if you actually look at the traffic right now, if the cars are parked on each side of the streets, there's really just one way. So if you have two cars coming from opposite directions, one has to wait for another, you know? So I think I understand that, you know, their streets maybe narrow and quieter, that works. I just think, you know, from my observation, our neighborhood is not that type of neighborhood. It's just a high density neighborhood. There's a lot of cars, there's a lot of children, you know, the streets, I mean, is where the kids have, you know, a flat pavement to play with each other, you know, to write things. This is a different kind of situation. That's my comments.
Thank you. Christy Tate, do you still have a comment that you'd like to make?
I do. I agree with what everyone's been saying from Vineyard Square, and really just two things. It's different when you have connections with other neighborhoods. We certainly have that on the other side of Vineyard Square. That's not a big issue. This is a connection to a commercial place, to the aquatic center, where there's tons of traffic for soccer, whatever. There's so many people coming through there that aren't just driving around as part of a neighborhood. The second thing that I think is important is it feels disrespectful to me, and I'm more wary as a community member if I think that the town will make a decision to really disrupt the established neighborhood. I mean, I know that things change. We all know that growth is inevitable, but I think something as obvious as this, to me, the safety of people in a community, that could totally change. It feels just really disrespectful to me in an established neighborhood. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any additional comments that they'd like to add?
I saw Carl. I didn't know if he was going to say something. Just one little thing, just another thing to add to the picture of our neighborhood. It's not just children. Yes, and there are lots of children. People, we have lots of walkers. We have lots of people with dogs. Even without a dog, I walk on that street a lot. And yes, you have to cross back and forth a lot because there's only a sidewalk on one side. And not only will a new neighborhood bring the neighbors and the cut through traffic to Homestead Park, but there's an awful lot of Amazon trucks right now, Amazon, whatever, UPS, all of those trucks are going to be coming through too, using us to get to this neighborhood. So we're talking about a lot of traffic, and it is basically a one-lane road. As people said, you have cars parked on both sides. So, and you have to wait to get through as it is. And I hate to say it, but we do have some neighbors that don't, or neighbors in the next neighborhood who do not observe stop signs. So it's already, parents are already pretty scared about that. And they have to pick up speed because it is it didn't show too much on Mr. Liu's video, but the street at the bottom where they propose connecting is the bottom of the street, and it goes pretty precipitously up. So cars go pretty fast to get up the hill. So just trying to kind of add a few strokes to the picture there. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of you for attending tonight and your comments. There's certainly going to be ongoing discussions about this. As I said, we wanted to get kind of a well-rounded view of this from the traffic engineers, the traffic advisory board, and the traffic report, which we anticipate will be out soon.
Okay, and as information becomes available and Eric and his team submit additional materials, we'll make sure to post those on the project webpage for you. You'll also receive a notice once this item is scheduled for the Planning Commission. If you need additional information, feel free to email me and I can add my email to the chat as well, and we'll make sure that we connect you to the right place or provide that information. We have about 15 minutes left in this meeting. We don't have to take all 15 minutes, but if anybody does have any additional comments, this is your chance to provide them.
Thank you.
Looks like Mr. Lee has his hand raised.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I might be late to attend this meeting. So in previous discussions, I think people have two main concerns. One is the traffic issue. So it seems this one is not addressed yet. The other one is a narrow buffer zone between the new construction and the house on the Vintage Drive. So I'm not sure this is changed or not.
Do you want to describe that just a little bit more about your concern about the buffer?
Yeah, so in previous discussion, people recognize the current buffer zone between the new construction and the house on the Vintage Drive is way too narrow. So people just ask to, to extend this zone if possible. So I'm not sure in the new plan, this has been addressed or not.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have comments or concerns that they want to share?
I have another question.
Even if you got insured, it's
I have
not
another
like
question.
make
Sorry.
them over it.
Let's do Mr. Schuler, who hasn't spoken yet, and then Mr. Wee.
Hi there, Carl Schuler. I came late to the meeting, but generally in agreement with the comments that have been made. And Anya, for you, to your invitation, I will follow up and send you an email. But as you can see in the chat, some issues above and beyond what's immediate under discussion, we got to make sure that what's being proposed is consistent with town council strategy and for this period of time. And I can go into details, but simply put, you've acknowledged the comment that I put in the outside and happy to speak to that at a later time. Thank you.
I have, and we can share the applicant's sustainability plan with you. I don't know if it's online, but if not, I can definitely find it. And then we can also share with you when the Environmental Stewardship Board will discuss this project. Mr. Wee.
Yeah, I just want to ask about the traffic transportation that Mr. Sharp mentioned quite a lot. So the question is that when is that meeting taking place? And also, what if the traffic analysis people think the vehicular connection is a bad idea? Because it doesn't seem to me so far that anything that we say does not seem to be taken into account. I wonder their voice will be taken into account or not.
I don't know if anybody from
I'm listening to everything that the community says, our adjacent neighbors, and am perfectly willing to continue this discussion. As I said, we just want to hear what the traffic experts have to say on that. And certainly what they say on this matter will have a great deal of influence, just like what you say. So we intend to listen to all of the parties, both the neighborhood and the experts in traffic on what the best way to go here is.
And I do want to stress to everyone in this group that the meetings with the advisory boards have not been scheduled yet. I can quickly walk you through our process here, if you can see this. So, I think most of you participated with the council at the concept plan review, and so that would have been this stage of the process. We have received Eric's conditional zoning district formal application. It's currently under review by our technical review team. We're holding this public information meeting tonight. We'll be sharing comments and working with Eric to address any deficiencies in the plan, any missing information, anything that we think we can improve upon. And so as the revisions are made, it'll continue to move through our technical review team for additional comments and feedback. Once we get it in more of a better place, then it'll go in front of the advisory boards, who then make a recommendation to the town council. We'll have a public hearing, and then Eric and his team will respond to any comments that he hears from both the advisory boards and the town council before the council for action. And we can continue to notify all of you of when those advisory board meetings are set and when the town council hearings are scheduled. And the other thing is we'll make sure that the dates are all on the town calendar page as well as the project webpage in case we're unable to reach you via email. So that's our process going forward. I know I keep calling for this, but is there any last comments before we wrap up this meeting? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I have a question. Our neighborhood has attended this meeting about 3 times. So I don't know the difference. So what's the difference about this meeting, about this new new project application, differences from last year? Since we still focus on the same problem about safety and traffic problem. So if it's still the problem like we presented last year, what's the meaning of this meeting? So if like Eric can give his project every year, so we have to be every time we are busy, So we have to find a way to solve the safety problem, but not just you see meets lots of times year by year, day by day. You know what I mean?
So we hold many public hearings. As we get a formal application, we always make sure to host a public information meeting like this one to give the public, one more opportunity to provide comment, provide feedback. A lot of times folks don't even realize an application has come into the town as a concept plan, which is what had gone to the Community Design Commission and the council prior to this conditional zoning district application. And so tonight's meeting is just part of our formal process for the conditional zoning application. And it may be repetitive for some of you, but it also offers an opportunity for others to come to the table and provide additional feedback and comments.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, anyone else? All right, with that, we can probably end the meeting a little earlier. My email is in the chat if you need it. You can also go online to the project website and see additional information, and we'll also make sure to put the applicant's presentation online this evening so that you'll have that. Mr. Wee, did you want to provide one final comment?
Just want to thank you.
No problem. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Okay, take care.
Thank you.